No flights, one car, 1,200 kilometers, an 18-hour drive, 3 countries, straight through Ukraine's southern and eastern industrial heart. All of that in this video. Let's go. Alright, today I want to take you with me on a real road trip. We're driving from our headquarters in Burgas, Bulgaria, all the way to Dnipro, eastern Ukraine. There are unfortunately still no commercial flights into Ukraine, so this journey happens by car. Roughly 1,250 kilometers, anywhere between 16 and 20 hours on the road. It's currently 3:30 a.m. The city is quiet, so let's go. Now that we're on the road, let me properly say hello. My name is Gazki. I'm the managing director of Gazki Limited, and since 2012 we've been building and managing international trade flows of physical products as well as professional business services between Ukraine and the world. Now, let me share a little life hack with you. Whenever a trip behind the wheel or by plane takes more than 6 hours, I try to schedule it on a Saturday or a Sunday. Although we have a strong team of people, agents and contractors all across different regions around the world who handle much of our operations, as managing director, I remain deeply involved in day-to-day business and especially business development. That is why I try to avoid traveling as much as possible on weekdays to stay fully focused on, Zoom meetings, team coordination, and process management. At the same time, building relationships with customers, suppliers, and partners requires, of course, constant movement between locations, often over long distances, because you have to be present, right? Therefore, weekends give me the space to travel calmly, reflect, while also using the time for myself to self-develop, listen to audiobooks, to YouTube podcasts without any distractions. You remember this life hack, maybe you need it. Now let's continue our road trip. One really interesting change over the past year is that Bulgaria and Romania joined the Schengen zone. That means no border controls anymore. Passenger cars, commercial trucks, just keep driving. In practice, this saves hours, sometimes even days, and it allows people, goods, and supply chains to move faster and more efficiently. And that is, of course, a mission that Gazki absolutely supports. We're here at the port of Constanta, one of the 2 key international seaports next to Ukraine. The second one is Gdansk, Poland. It plays a critical role for Ukrainian imports and exports, especially for the south, center, and eastern part of Ukraine, but in reality for Ukraine as a whole. We want to keep these videos as practical as possible, so let me give you some details from experience. Within about 4 to 5 days after loading in eastern Ukraine, in Kharkiv, Dnipro, Zaporizhia, and other cities, the cargo is already in Constanta. Constanta is one of the most critical logistics hubs in the region with deep, flexible infrastructure, which means you're able to transload almost any type of cargo here. Trucks to containers, containers to trucks, bulk, break bulk, literally anything. In contrast, last year, for instance, in Bulgaria, many cargoes such as steel pipes and bars, for example, simply could not be transloaded. The infrastructure and equipment were not there. In the port of Varna, for instance, because of war risks, shipping lines do not allow containers to be delivered to parts of Ukraine for factory loading. So you load trucks in Ukraine and transload in the port to containers. And one last thing before we head towards the border with Ukraine. Since 2024, every shipment of our company that moves inside Ukraine is insured against wars. A partner of ours had a container of marble destroyed by a drone in one of the ports in Ukraine where it was stored. Not covered by insurance, unfortunately. This is not theory, this is real logistics. So master the details and you master the trade flow. very windy here. In the Odesa region, Ukraine is connected to Romania by a ferry crossing. The ferry itself is actually the very one I'm standing on right now. People, private cars, buses, and trucks cross every hour in under 10 minutes on the river Danube. I'm going to finish the recording inside the car because it's just too windy outside. So recently, Russian missiles and drone attacks damaged 2 key bridges around the Odesa region. But here's something important. Just 2 days later, I was driving already through that area. One bridge was almost fully functional again. Trucks were moving, passenger cars passing. That tells you a lot about Ukraine's resilience and how quickly infrastructure is restored, even under constant pressure. So, we just entered Ukraine, the Odesa region, just past border control, and this is the very road that is being used by all the trucks to deliver cargo going in and out of Ukraine towards Constanta port that we've just seen. From now on, I will show you some important key locations that might be of interest with regard to international trade with Ukraine and give you hopefully beneficial information. Stay tuned. I'll just share a few numbers I recently came across. The greater Odesa ports, Odesa, the main one I'm standing in front of right now, the Pivdenny and Chernomorsk handled roughly 80 million tons of cargo in 2024 and close to 68 million tons so far in 2025, as of the info in the fall of 2025. For context, the port of Rotterdam moves over 430 million tons per year. The port of Gdansk in Poland, around 70 million tons, growing fast. So Odesa is therefore operating at a major European port scale, despite the war. So, now that we've seen the port of Odesa, we'll be heading towards the next major city on our way, Mykolaiv, the capital of Mykolaiv region. By the way, we work very closely with the Odesa Chamber of Commerce, which gives us direct access to verified local businesses, institutional partners, and on-the-ground intelligence. That matters a lot and is of great help when you operate in complex environments. So guys, what you just seen was a huge traffic jam due to the wintry, snowy weather conditions. As you see, it was snowing, snow all over the road. Initially, I planned actually to get to Mykolaiv to show you a couple of things, to get to the next city before arriving in Dnipro, showing you a couple of things and reporting from there. But I must admit, we're a little bit under pressure. So it's 6:34 now. I have half an hour to go to Mykolaiv and then 4 hours to go to Dnipro. So why am I telling you this? We gotta hurry up in order to arrive in Dnipro before midnight. In all Ukrainian regions, except one, there's a curfew. In the majority of regions and cities, it lasts from around 12 midnight till 5 a.m. in the morning. This is the case with Odesa, with Kyiv, with Dnipro, and many other cities. Yes, of course, there are even stricter exceptions in cities like Kherson or Nikopol. They are located right at the front line. Unfortunately, the curfew may last even longer. In any case, if you do not have a special permit, which I certainly do not have, you're not allowed to remain outside driving, walking, or doing whatever else. You have to stay at home. So I have to be at home, I have to be in Dnipro before midnight. Otherwise, it will be bad. And will I make it? You'll find out at the end of this video, so will I. Having said that, there's still a lot of things that I want to share with you. So I will do that just driving by in the cities. Cheers to another double espresso. I've already lost count today of how many I had. Now let me quickly explain to you why these 3 regions that I'm passing today matter. Odesa, Mykolaiv, and Dnipro. Not only individually, but as a system. Odesa region is Ukraine's maritime gateway. It's the country's access to global markets through the Black Sea. Grain, metals, fertilizers. This is where exports leave the country. Without Odesa, Ukraine would effectively become landlocked, which would be devastating economically and strategically. So the Mykolaiv region sits right behind Odesa. It's a strong agricultural producer, home to companies like Dnipro, one of Ukraine's largest grain traders. It also has deep roots in shipbuilding and heavy industry, and it protects transport routes feeding into Odesa. I mean, look at this. This is the city center of Mykolaiv. The city was under artillery fire when the Russian army back then in 2022 came only less than 40 kilometers close to the city and damaged it severely. It's alive and it's well. This is resilience. This is what Ukraine is all about. This is, I get goosebumps when I look at this. And then comes the Dnipro region, where we're heading to next. This is the industrial backbone of Ukraine. What do you think, guys? The clock says 7:25, but my navigation system says that I'll be in Dnipro at 11:30. Will I make it? Damn, that's a tight schedule. Let's see. Guys, you won't believe it. I just drove from Mykolaiv to Kryvyi Rih, and in front of me, a truck, something fell off his, I don't know what, his tent, and crashed into my car. It was like an icy object or something like that. I tried to stop for about 20 minutes to take a look at the car, what happened, because it was so snowy and it was an icy road, a lot of traffic. I just stopped, and now let me show you what happened. How about that? My license plate is missing. I lost it on the way. Well, that is what you call an unforeseen incident, huh? I knew it. I just knew it. It was just a matter of time. Look at this. I was pulled over by the police after I passed Kryvyi Rih, and they got me a ticket for driving without a license plate in the front. In Ukraine, according to the law, you have to have a license plate in front of the car and in the back of the car. One was missing. I explained to them the whole situation, and they said, yeah, we cannot do anything. We understand you as a person, on a personal level, but as policemen, we must give you a ticket. They fined me 1,200 to 1,190 hryvnias. This is approximately only 24 euros, thanks God, but it's just, it's just incredible. I mean, this is getting better and better today. Guys, I cannot believe it, but we made it. It's exactly 4 past midnight. I'm running on an empty car. It's negative 9.5 degrees Celsius, but we're in Dnipro, so I'm gonna get my bags inside and I'm gonna finish the video from upstairs. Now back to business, the final part, the Dnipro region. This is where steel, mining, machinery and engineering are concentrated. Dnipro sits on the country's main river, rail and road arteries. It connects east to west, north to south, and provides industrial depth and resilience. The last major city that I just passed where all this mess happened is Kryvyi Rih. It's less than 200 kilometers away from my destination here in Dnipro. An extremely important industrial hub where we also operate. We have different manufacturing processes running there and supply these materials that we manufacture to Western buyers. An interesting side note, actually, many people don't know, Kryvyi Rih is part of Dnipro region and the hometown of President Volodymyr Zelensky. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to record all these moments during the ride because I was under extreme time pressure. So I'm sharing them with you now, and I promise I'll talk about Kryvyi Rih and Mykolaiv in separate videos in more depth. We have several businesses running there and I'll show you how they work. Guys, that's it from my side today. I hope you like the format of these videos and you have enjoyed it and it was informative for you. So see you in the next one. Bye.